Well, we are back. My name is Ari ben Lyman Hanavi, and we've been talking about Paul, this mystery man, this apostle to the Gentiles who had so many confusing things to say. I read his letters, especially Romans and Galatians. Ephesians gets thrown in there, Colossians every now and then. And he seems to be teaching to me that I am no longer under the law, that I'm not obligated to walk into the Torah of Moses like the Jewish people were told of so long ago. Is that how I am to read Paul? Is that what Paul was really teaching me? We're challenging the view that Paul actually set us free from the law so that we can walk in grace. Let me just be plain with you. Let me just be open and frank and honest with you, as if I've been dishonest up to this point. No, I haven't. But let me see if I can, in these last 5 minutes or so of the show, just be very, very succinct. Paul did not teach us to walk away from the law of God. And Paul wasn't teaching against a legalism which was to be equated with merit theology. Paul didn't believe that the Judaisms of his day held some belief that the Torah provided some simplistic ladder to heaven. What Paul was combating was this notion of ethnocentric Jewish exclusivism, which in a word taught that if you, a Gentile, wish to be counted as a full-fledged covenant member within Israel, then you must convert to Judaism first. End of story. In other words, the Torah is for Jews only, and it is all Jews and only Jews which share a place in the world to come, aka heaven. That's how we can understand Paul's consternation. That's what drives him the way he writes. He's trying to teach the Gentiles that they don't have to convert to Judaism to be counted as full-fledged covenant members within Israel. No, this legal status change was provided by Yeshua, and all the Gentile needs to do to gain this status is to place that trust, or place his or her trust in Yeshua, squarely in the finished work of Yeshua. And in doing so, the Spirit of God will write the Word of God on the heart of the individual. And in that transformation, the sinner takes on the status of saint, and that's all the identity that the person needs. Now, what happens after that? Can he still walk into the Torah? Oh, you bet, because that's what Jeremiah teaches us, that the Spirit of God will write the Word of God on the heart of the individual. He will circumcise the heart, and that he will write his words on our heart. That's what Paul envisioned for Jew and Gentile alike. Far from purporting that some ethnic-driven identity was the key to maintaining our position in Israel, Paul taught most assuredly that it was only through the grace offered through Messiah that we can come as full-fledged members into Israel. But once we are in Israel, the Torah, the Word of God, becomes our inheritance. It becomes our blueprint for living the way in which we are to walk out our salvation. Sanctification can be achieved as the Spirit of God writes the words of God on the heart of the individual. And it's that simple. If you read through Paul's letters with that view in mind, then you'll begin to understand his letters more contextually, more Hebraically, and I promise they'll begin to make a lot more sense, especially for those of you who are struggling with questions from your well-meaning friends and family members about this issue. So give it a try. Next time you read works of the law, keep in mind that Paul's probably talking not about keeping the Torah, but an ideal that refers to the conversion policy. Works of law was a halakha. It was a position paper that was basically taught to anyone wishing to enter into Israel, that they must convert to Judaism before they can even begin to walk in the Torah. The Jews of that day didn't believe that Gentiles could keep the Torah. So they weren't really asking themselves, how much Torah should we give to the Gentiles? They were asking themselves, what should we do with them as Gentiles? Should we make them convert? Or what should we do? And that's really a better way to understand Paul. And if you'd like more information on that, come to 3J's on Shabbat afternoon, 1 o'clock to 3:30. I'm going to be teaching there. 3J's is just down the street from the radio station, and we're going to pick up this topic of covenantal nomism. See if we can pull out a few passages to illustrate my point. Okay, until then, shalom, shalom, lechitraot. I'll see you later.